Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Do you hear all the squeaking from my mic arm?
Now I do.
Ah, all right.
Don't do that.
Things to be fixed. Wait, you bought dotnet Morton beer?
No, never. Why
What?
would I do that?
I didn't get the opportunity. This is probably the evening when I showed my
Yeah,
age and went to bed
they
early.
went to bed at like 6 p.m.
Yes. So context. Hello, everybody. I'm David Ortinau, product manager on the .NET MAUI team, and with me is Rachel Kang.
Hello, I'm also product manager on the team.
And last week we were in Redmond, homeland, HQ,
HQ.
for the MVP summit. And so many of the MVPs, .NET Morton, .NET Morton, Dot Morton, giving you new names, was among the crowd there. Several of you may have been there, and we had a great time. And for the most part, it's all NDA, non-disclosure, so we can't tell you all the things. But hey, we're open source, and so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we shared with the MVPs last week in terms of .NET 10 roadmap things. I think it would be cool to start off, since we talk about the MVP summit, we should probably tell folks, how does one become an MVP? Are they born MVPs? Is it like, do your parents have to be MVPs and therefore you get, grandfathered into the program? Yes, redacted all. Um, do you know, Rachel?
I think there's a form somewhere,
There
right?
is.
And you can nominate someone or nominate yourself. And there are some things that the program looks for. For example, how active you are in the community and how much you spread the love about what we do here at Microsoft. And for our case, Maui, of course. So, yeah, I
So
see Dave
here's
sent all the links.
so you can go to mvpmicrosoft.com, and actually one of the first things on the page, I guess I haven't started sharing my screen. Let's do this. Ad hoc, coming in hot. Share the screen.
Woo,
Window, screen, entire screen.
you got this. I believe in you.
And then put it on the stage. There we go. So this is the MVP Microsoft page. And then right here, get started, become an MVP. You're going to fill out a form that says, here are my contributions. Whether they're open source contributions, speaking at local events, hosting local events, speaking globally, any of the things that you're doing towards the community, participating in community things. And then, yeah, it probably does help to get a recommendation. I don't know if this is the same kind of thing with hiring where only one Microsoft person can recommend you. Which is, I don't know if did you know that if you apply for a job, don't go asking every single Microsoft person you know to recommend
Yeah,
you. Only
I'm
one.
aware.
So find the one that
Mhm.
matters the most and have them recommend you. But I think maybe in the MVP thing, you can do it elsewhere. And MVP programs, Gerald, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're regional. So like if you're going to become a MVP in the Netherlands, for example, I think you maybe you have a representative there. I don't know. I was going to invite Gerald on the stream today to present some of the cool things he's working on, but I was like, he's probably having dinner. No, he's not having dinner. He's in the chat.
Gerald's always in the chat. You should know better.
You know what also happened recently, just before MVP Summit? No, you don't.
Maui Day.
Maui Day in London, which was super
Ah,
cool. I know you got a wrap up you were going to share. I can stop sharing my screen.
yeah.
But we had a really good time. I was there. Gerald was there. George was there. Who else have I seen in the chat that was there? Maddie showed up. My wife came and learned all about .NET MAUI. She's like, I don't understand these words, but it's really weird to see people paying attention to David. That was her big takeaway. They pay attention to him.
Yeah.
We had a really good time, full room of people, like 100 something, and like a whole day of great sessions. Oh, Matt Lacey was there. He spoke. Go ahead, Rachel. You take it over. You've got the wrap up.
Nice. Well, you were the one who was there, so I'm upset. I'm just sad I couldn't be there to join y'all for the awesome day. But I got to catch up on LinkedIn and on all the socials, all the awesome pictures and recap from the day. So here, Paul from Sync Fusion shared that they were also there at Maui Day. And I know, look at you. You look so happy here, Dave.
It was great. I think it was the first time I recall meeting Paul in person, but he may have been over for like a different Microsoft event, and I had met him. But we talk all the time. You know, well, all the time. We see each other regularly on syncs, where we're talking about how the partnership is going and the work that they're doing. So I feel like I had already met him in person, but it was great to actually put my hands on him.
Don't say that.
It was innocent.
Well, yeah, good stuff. And Sync Fusion, I heard also when they were over there, talked about their third set of open source controls in the Sync Fusion toolkit for Maui. So that's super awesome. Also sad to have missed the big reveal there. But for the rest of us, we can catch up here in this awesome blog post Paul wrote about the new controls. So there's an accordion control that helps you to expand and collapse views. We have some cards here. So if you're looking for a control like this, you don't need to build your own custom control anymore. You can just use
can
this.
you zoom?
Zoom. I'm in a dev box, so it's a little laggy. Yeah. So going back here.
You want to tell everybody why you're in a dev box?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
But you're going to tell everyone anyways, aren't you?
I'm not going to show the video.
Oh my gosh.
Rachel put her water bottle in her bag at the MVP summit and it wasn't fully closed. So she bathed her MacBook. And if you've ever bathed a MacBook, that does not go well. So now
I know. This was for those who were at MVP summit last week. This was the morning right before the talk too, like day of. And so there was a lot of last minute scrambling to make sure we had everything we needed to show.
I could reenact it. She was in the back of the WinUI session doing this. With a MacBook. I mean, the image, right? You've got a Mac in a Windows UI session and you're doing this with it. It was amazing.
Well, when you put it like that.
I know, it just occurred to me.
All right. Alrighty. So we got accordion. We got cards. We got this expander, which is another neat way of expanding and collapsing your views.
It's like there's a theme.
We got pop-up and all the different ways in which you can customize your pop-ups. And OTP, one-time password input controls. And
yeah, so the OTP one.
Post on just that one.
Yeah. Oh, you have the separate post on it. So this one's really interesting. Like when they started telling me, yeah, we're going to release the OTP control, I'm like, I have no idea. You know, we work at Microsoft, so TLAs, 3-letter acronyms, are huge, which probably at every company, but for some reason Microsoft claims ownership of that corner. And so the OTP, I'm like, I don't know what that is. And yeah, so it's like when you need to punch in the 4 digits or the 6 digits for security. Great. I would love to not have to build that.
Yeah, we have 2-factor authentication for everything nowadays. So you can make it more fun. You can make it colorful. you can make it 6 digits if you want instead of the 4. All different things. Yeah. I think what's cool beyond the fact that Syncfusion's been releasing all these controls is that they're actively improving them as well. So this bit here at the end about the performance, about how all their controls now support trimming and native AOT, I think that's super awesome. So yeah.
Hey, while we're covering news and blogs and things like that, we are going to be talking later about .NET 10 and Visual Studio and things. If you have questions you want us to address, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will star them, and we'll come back to them later. So I think those starred things, Rachel, when we joined
I think they're
in the chat, they were from last
other
time.
stream. Yeah.
So we've got a new set that we can start starring.
Mm-hmm.
So drop your questions. We'll get back to it.
Yes. And then, of course, all of the other component vendors in our ecosystem are also up to great things. So, in Progress Telluric World, we have another post this time about the awesome title bar. I know you, Dave, love title bars, and we had a great demo of that in .NET Conf. Seems like it was forever ago, but yeah, this is pretty neat visual of the title bar properties and the various things that you can customize now in your title bar. So if you haven't checked out title bar stuff yet, definitely check out this blog and it'll walk you through all the different things you can do with title bar. And then there's another blog post they have on the .NET MAUI toolkit, community toolkit for alerts. So you can learn all about that here, and just a great reminder in general of all of the awesome additional controls and services that our community toolkit offers. So amazing.
Yeah, I think I mean that was kind of one of the things that we did with the new template, which, if you don't know, when you create a new .NET MAUI project in .NET 9, you can say include sample content. If you're doing it from Visual Studio Code, you still have that option, or from the command line. I think it's -sc or -sc.
Yeah, also in VS Code.
Yeah, and so that'll bring in the Syncfusion, open source toolkit, but also the community toolkit for Maui with all these amazing controls and value converters and behaviors. And now I didn't include this, I meant to, but if you go look at the Maui community toolkit on GitHub, you'll find that George brought in the prompt instructions that I demoed last month. So you can kind of add to the Copilot experience and improve the kinds of responses you get where you see it going off the rails or getting confused. Yeah, so there's a lot of things in that repo in particular. And then it also includes the MVVM community toolkit, et cetera. So I love having these amazing, obviously, community, open source resources that are so integral to the community and well maintained. Wasn't always the case back in Xamarin, where you had a library you depended on, everybody depended on it, and nobody was maintaining it. But much better state now.
Yeah, our community gets better and better every day. So major props to y'all. And then GrowlKit has also been popping off. They've been posting a lot of these YouTube shorts, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if they have reels on Instagram and TikToks and all the things on every platform, but very fun way to very quickly learn about what's going on in GrowlKit. So this one is about their checkboxes and radio buttons and how you can leverage those. So definitely check out all the little shorts.
Yeah, they produce some amazing stuff. We should hire them just as our marketing resource.
Yeah. Or we can, use Gerald, right?
Well, I mean, if it's going to be design related, we can use Steven down the street from Gerald.
Design here is great. Do you see this? Beautiful.
Yes. Oh, he's the king of thumbnails.
Oh yeah. So Gerald recently posted a new video on .NET Aspire for .NET MAUI apps, and he wants to hear your feedback Would you use this? Did you try this? Is it working for you? Let him know.
Yeah,
Like,
so we
comment,
need
subscribe.
when we get this a little bit more baked, it's getting very close to being something we can share as an experiment for everybody to go try. We should have Gerald. We should have you come join us.
Yeah,
You're basically
absolutely.
you're working your way into a technical PM role.
You can show us what all this is about. But yeah, super awesome stuff. Definitely check it out. And
Who's that?
then, what is that?
She looks
Who's
familiar.
that? I don't know who that is. Maui lead leaves to work on .NET Aspire. Who's the Maui lead? I thought that was us, Dave. Are you on
Yes, well,
Aspire?
Nick is the king. If Gerald's the king of thumbnails, Nick is the king of clickbait titles, right? He gets the eyeballs.
I love it. It's so fun. But yeah, I didn't watch this whole thing because an hour and 40 minutes of Maddie might be too much for me in one sitting. But just kidding. No, but it's great. And I read the comments, and people love all the honest conversation that was had and all the awesome work Maddie's been doing in Aspire Land, just as she has in Maui Land. So great content. Oh, it's Gerald again. I'm just too much Gerald. I'm sorry.
Well, he got so much flack for taking a little time off after hitting 100,000 on YouTube.
I
And,
know.
other people
Yeah.
started kind of claiming territory on him, posting
But
their
he's
own
back
YouTube
now.
videos. And so now he's like, "Psh, I'm back, baby."
Yeah. But this one's not a video. I don't know if there's a video on this, but this is a blog post that Gerald recently posted with Sweeky regarding Appium UI tests and using Browser Stack App Automate on top of that now. So if you missed it, there was a blog post, an initial blog post on getting started with Appium and Maui a while back. And now this is like a part 2 to that with Browser Stack App Automate. So they walk you through what it is and step by step of how to add it to your existing UI tests, how to, set up and configure all the YAML files, favorite, and how to get it going in your pipelines as well. And I thought this was pretty neat. This dashboard, I always love a good dashboard. It includes the Browser Stack App Automate dashboard includes a video that walks you through. It's like a screen recording of the test like happening, and then it has a nice, status update of all the steps it took, the logs, and whether it passed or failed, and everything you really need to know. So, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and as Luce said here, we need more Sweeky.
Yeah, we do.
Sweeky went off and got married, and she's back, but she's working on other things now. So, but we'll lure her out to an event, and we'll get her out there in the public eye again.
Yes, I miss Sweeky. And then here, over at Amaroska Dev, is a new blog post on customizing Maui UI with handlers, effects, and CSS. So nothing super new here, but a great reminder of all the awesome extensibility and customizability that Maui offers. So they walk through how you can build custom controls and reuse them, how you can leverage handlers instead of renderers. You can use platform specifics and CSS. So these are some of the things they walk you through. But yeah, great reminder. Do you have a favorite, Dave? Wei, what's your favorite Maui feature when it comes to customizing your UI?
That's a great question. It's probably not CSS, which I actually would, if we converted all of the styling in Maui to be purely CSS, I would be content. However, it's not the easiest of things right now. It doesn't cover absolutely everything. My preferred way to do customization really is to build, semantic controls, basically custom controls. So if it's a primary button, I'll build a primary button, and all of my styling is in line. If it's a shared color or something like that, sure, it's in my themes. But I prefer to do it all in C#, all in a self-contained component, and then reuse that component. So when I read my UI, it's more straightforward. I've certainly used styles and custom handlers and things like that in the past. I don't find very often that I even need to do handler overrides anymore.
That's awesome.
Which is great. Yeah, back in Xamarin Forms, you were always writing custom renderers
Mhm.
to do that sort of thing. And when Maui came out in 6, 7, and even 8, there were certainly plenty of use cases for doing handler overrides, modify handler, etc. But
Mhm.
I don't find many use cases for that anymore. So I think for the most part, it's around, how do you want to organize your customizations, and that's the most maintainable for you and produces code that you like. I would
Mhm.
say that nowadays we need to be thinking about, how do I make sure that my code is something that Copilot likes? Because
Oh, yeah.
you're going to point Copilot at it and needs to quickly understand it so that it can extend it for you, and you can benefit
Mhm.
from those
Yeah,
productivity boosts. What do we call it?
absolutely.
Intelligent tool. What do you?
Intelligent productivity.
Intelligent productivity. And
Yeah.
and apparently we're all vibe coding these
Vibe
days.
code. You'll
Just
get
don't.
it.
You'll trigger me if you say use vibe coding. Like it's not a thing to be
Mm,
used. It's if
okay.
you want to vibe code, go ahead and vibe code. But
Gotcha.
we can rage code.
That makes sense.
You ever done some rage coding?
No, can't say I have.
Anybody in the chat rage code? Oh, come on! When you're just brute forcing things.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I was gonna say, like, for customization, for me, it's more about I don't really care exactly how it's done as long as it's accessible.
Hmm.
And it's funny you mentioned Copilot because I've heard a lot about how making sure your code is accessible and everything you do is accessible is also one of the best ways of instructing Copilot and making sure Copilot can understand you well too. Those things
Hmm.
go hand in hand very well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, heard that one.
Yeah, I would love my code to be. What language do you use in your project? We use Vibe, our app Vibes. There you
Such a vibe. Speaking of good vibes, Sean here announced the second edition of
go.
their book, Introducing .NET MAUI. So I think
Should
I
have
saw
called it
something.
Reintroducing .NET MAUI,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Nice. I think I saw earlier in the chat, someone was asking about wanting to be someone's student and seeking to learn about Maui. And there's a lot of great books out there, lots of great docs you can start with. So definitely check those resources out.
Yeah, we've got a abundance of great books out there.
Uh-huh. Now we were just
Yeah.
talking about Copilot. Daniel here posted a video 3 weeks ago about their experience using GitHub Copilot and VS Code while developing Maui app. And you can watch this video to see what their experience was like and hear about how useful that they found Copilot to be. So
Was
awesome stuff.
this is this agent mode or agents? Because agent mode and agents are different things, right?
Yeah, I don't think they were actually using agent mode in this video. From what
It
I can
looks like
tell, they
edit
were
mode.
using edits. Yeah. But agent mode is also a thing if you're in VS Code Insiders. So you can check that out. Um, so
Yeah,
that
and
is also an
if
awesome
you
feature.
are skeptical about our hype around Copilot and AI things, please go try Visual
Yeah.
Studio Code Insiders and turn on the
Mhm.
agent mode. It's in that little drop down at the bottom of the chat window there, and just tell it to go do something and just sit back.
Mhm. Exactly. Just try it. That's what we do here in the tech world. Just got to try everything.
Yeah.
And speaking of all the new AI developments, there's just been so much happening and it's hard. I know Dave came back from all his travels and he was like, "Have you heard of this? Like what is going on?"
I know, I was gone for like 2 weeks, and I
Yeah.
come back to a whole new buzzword and
Every day
thing, and
something's
it's like,
happening. So one of those new happenings happening is MCP. If you haven't heard of it, that's Model Context Protocol. And actually just yesterday, I came across this blog post from Mike and Maria about an official C# SDK for MCP that is now available due to and thanks to Microsoft's collaboration with Anthropic. So definitely check this out. If you've heard of MCP, don't really know what it is, and still trying to figure out what exactly it all means, I think this blog post is a great place to start. They have a really helpful visual here, briefly explaining MCP and how it works in terms of communicating between the host and the client and the servers, and a set of like basic standard messages that the client and server exchange, as well as a simple like hello world example called Echo of a server that they built using the C# SDK for MCP. So definitely check all these things out. There's a lot of great examples and tools that are already out there. And so even though it's very new, it's there's already all this great content we can look into to learn all about it.
have you written an MCP yet?
No, I haven't. I
I
haven't yet, but a lot of folks on our team have.
Yeah, I didn't, it was hard for me to get my head around, maybe also because I was coming back from vacation, but,
Mhm.
um, I went through the getting started building the first weather one that
Oh,
is in the
nice.
documentation, and they've got the C# docs for it and samples.
Yeah.
It took me just a few minutes, and it really helped me get my head around what this thing is
Awesome.
doing and how it's useful.
Yeah.
I had tried to review the code from John Dick's, MCP server from the other thing we worked on. The other thing
Mhm.
redacted that we worked on. But I don't know, maybe you're gonna
Yeah.
talk.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
But the
there's
weather
Tony.
one you mentioned, I think I saw it in the sample
Yeah, it should be in there.
in here.
So I wanna real quick interject and say thanks to Tony Edwards. Hi,
Mhm.
Tony, you just joined, for his work in helping to organize the London Maui Day event. So he was the boots on the ground, I
Thank
think,
you.
and, yeah, thanks for setting that all up.
Yeah, thanks for being awesome. Okay, I can't find it. Somewhere in here is a link. Oh, here. It must be this one. um, yeah, so this is the C# SDK under Model Context Protocol on GitHub, and it has everything you need to get started, including the samples, and the quick start weather server sample that Dave mentioned is in here as well. And I mentioned that folks on our team have been experimenting with servers and building them as well. I saw Mott built a server that gives you a list of monkeys and monkey details, because monkeys for life. And Javier posted this morning as well about his mobile development MCP server that he created on GitHub. So you can find it under Javier's GitHub. You see all the awesome tools. It's so long, this list of tools that he built out. And you can see here an example of him running the server from VS Code. So you can see all of the tools listed here. And you can also see examples of him interacting with Copilot, so you can see what the tools actually look like. So for example, let's see. For example here, for getting the latest logs from one of the emulators on his machine. He leverages the tools that he built and the server in order to interact with Copilot and get that information. So super cool stuff. Definitely check it out. And Javier is also welcoming contributions, so he can contribute to that as well. Have you tried this one out yet?
I haven't. I'm eager to. I
Yeah.
just became aware of it when Tim
Yeah.
shared it to us. What was that, Monday morning?
So fresh. Yeah, and Javier only posted about it himself 3 hours ago, so
I know. We work on the same team with Javier. We only find these things out through social media and other
it's
people.
just
It's like, tell us,
yeah.
man. Tell us.
Yeah. We find out at the same time as y'all do about a lot of these things.
That's
So
how fast everything's moving. It's like,
yeah.
I haven't even digested the last meal and you're already feeding me again.
Uh-huh. Seriously. And that's it. That's all I had for blogs and updates on that end. Should we talk more
Wow.
about .NET 10?
You took up half the entire time. Oh my gosh.
Now you know how it feels.
Let me get things teed up here. All right, I gotta switch screens, and then boop. Look at that. It's a roadmap.
Ah.
All right. So you can watch the chat maybe and star some things while I'm talking. We did have a few questions in the chat. I'll start with this one from Dot Morton. Is there going to be Maui presence at Build this year? Unless something changes. We actually do have a workshop and a full big boy session, big person, big product session. So yeah, going to be there. And I know that I will certainly be there, working on making sure that Rachel and Beth can also be there. I'm sure Beth's going to be there because she has a hybrid demo, I think, or we're going to make her demo hybrid thing. So yes, gonna be awesome.
Yes.
And working on getting Gerald over as well. So if any of the Gerald fan club wants to come meet him, we'll set up a table. We'll do a signing situation. He does require likes and subscribes before he signs autographs. But yeah, so looking forward to Build already, and that'll be amazing. Rachel is also going to be at NDC Oslo, which is the end of that same week, right?
Yeah, it's an action-packed week happening at the same time. I'm
Be
gonna
a
try to
globetrotter.
be in both places at once. I need to get like a Hermione Granger time turner thing. So we'll see what I can pull off. But
That
I will
reminds
be
me, when
there.
I was in Edinburgh, I saw my wife kept saying, "This is the Harry Potter this, and this is the Harry Potter that." And then we saw the Tom Riddle's grave, and then and this is where she wrote this book. And I was like, she's a 6th grade language arts teacher, so
That's awesome.
this is the world. All right, so we answered that. Oh, I hit it, but it's not going anywhere. Any plans to include more inbox controls instead of going third-party controls? No, there are no plans for that right now. So our focus is in the core product, improving what's there. We certainly will round out things that have gaps. Like for instance, we ship title bar on Windows in .NET. Yeah, in .NET 9. And then later on in a service release, we introduced the Mac version of the title bar support. Other controls are getting additional improvements. I'll share a couple of them here, but no big new controls coming to the core product. We would consider, if it makes sense, bringing in maybe a third-party control into the product to ship as part of the core product. But for the next release, in particular .NET 10, it's not in the plans to add new controls. So we are encouraging, for sure, third-party ecosystem to continue to fill that gap. And y'all can iterate much faster than we will on our side. So cool. Hide that. All right. So I updated this 2 hours ago.
Good job. You got it together.
Got it together. Shared it around with a lot of folks. PSA, public service announcement for those of you who may not be aware. There is no long-term support for .NET MAUI. .NET MAUI is on an 18-month cadence. So that means that we ship in November with all of .NET. We ship on the same schedule as .NET, but the support policy is different because we have Android and iOS, macOS, Xcode dependencies that kind of force us to move more quickly. Yeah, Gerald did publish a, because he's on fire. He's all over it. And we get asked this question a lot. If you want your class libraries to be on an LTS version and then bring them in to your non-LTS MAUI application, totally do that. But as far as any MAUI code things, Android, iOS type stuff, that's all going to be on the 18-month cadence. So that means that .NET 8 is going out of support in May for us. Yeah. So you basically have 6 months after a new major release to move to the next version. And you may be saying, that's too fast. That's too fast for us. I just want to point out that for Xamarin, as soon as we shipped a new release, the old version was out of support. So there was zero overlap in support. You always had to be on the latest version. So yeah, PSA complete. So what are we focused on in .NET 10? Can I set this? Yeah, it's that. I'll make it even a little bit bigger. So absolutely, overall quality of the product to increase your success is our top priority. So that's unchanged from 6, 7, 8, and 9. And it is where the majority of our investment and effort is going. A big part of that we're leveraging, and hopefully you're seeing the huge impact from it, is the close partnership we now have with the Syncfusion engineering team, where they're working directly in the repo to address bugs, to increase test coverage, and all that sort of thing, as well as now triaging issues and helping us there, because we are one of, if not the, depending on the month, most active repository projects in the .NET org. Did you know that, Rachel? Yeah. So in terms of number of contributors, issues, PRs, etc., I will also point out, and we'll certainly highlight this in presentations, there was a lot of concern early on with .NET 6 and 7. Oh, the number of issues. There's so many of them. That has not been the trend. We actually, year over year, are trending down in terms of velocity of issues reported, but the number of PRs being submitted and issues being resolved is rising. So we're seeing wonderful trends on both of those. And so that's due in large part to this right here, that our top priority is that and continues to be that, which is also a major reason that we are not planning, whole new sets of controls or anything like that to add to the core product. Additionally, we've always had, a healthy ecosystem of contributors and contributions, but for the past year and a half, we have had a massive number of contributions from a small core team. There's Albirock, Marty IX, Kubeflow. Those are like top 3. You see their names all the time. They're community contributors. But now, of course, the Syncfusion team as a community contributor, and others, many others. Pedro Jesus has been doing a lot of PRs. So we're super thrilled with that, and we want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the product to help those contributions, the valuable time that you all have put into the product, get those into the product more quickly. There you go. Yes, that deserves some confetti. So there are a couple of things that we're doing as efforts to improve that process. More community PR reviews. So Syncfusion team is helping with the PR review process as well. So it's not blocked on our core team. But of course, we are all participating in this together. And then we are working on a new process of flighting So flighting is where we bring together a bunch of PRs that we anticipate shipping for a future release, for the next service release, for example. And rather than QAing them all individually, making sure all the tests pass individually, and all the time that requires in terms of CI/CD and automated bot processes, consolidating that into a one effort, and then QAing that and shipping that. So that's something that has just been started. I think the first one was put in the can or boxed up and shared like while we were at MVP Summit. I feel like I was watching over Shane's shoulder as he was doing that. So we'll see if that effort bears the fruit that we think that it will, and we'll continue to improve that process. All right. Now that you've all probably already read the rest of the slide or the page, improving app performance. So you're going to see some work in terms of native AOT, in particular on Android, but I do want to call out that native AOT on Android is a long tail process deliverable. So it's not something that's going to be fully baked and everything in .NET 10. Similar to what we did with iOS, you're going to get it for Apple platforms. You're going to get it for Android platforms in an experimental state. You can check it out. You can try it. Maybe it works great with your project. Maybe all the libraries you have blows everything up. But it's a process. And so we're going to iterate on it and continue to improve it. I will say that the initial tests of our native AOT on Android are showing some very, very promising performance results. And it's both performance, startup time, app, rendering time, but also app size. So we're tracking both of those metrics closely. It's something you can look forward to, and we're really, really excited about it, but it is going to take several releases probably before that comes to full fruition. Improving test coverage, that is ongoing. If you look at our release notes, you'll see a lot of call outs of tests being added, tests that had been failing being brought back online because we now have the time to go look at them and see what's going on. If you do testing in your app, you know the story. Sometimes the tests are because the device glitched or the emulator or whatever. And so it's a false positive or a false negative. I guess it would be a false negative. And you just need to go, you end up working on the testing system more than you work on actually making the product correct. Improving debug and error reporting across native and managed code. This is something that has been a struggle for a long time, and you certainly can do this yourself by spinning up native tooling, like the console on the Mac or whatever console tools you would use on Windows, and looking at the native logs alongside the .NET logs in Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code and kind of teasing apart what all is going on. We want to make that better. And so we're investing in the SDK itself to add, some telemetry points, some open telemetry, which is something that we're really thinking is going to be a nice benefit, in particular with the Aspire integration and the dashboard help so that you can see all in one place everything that's happening. But we just want to improve that story all up because, we need help with troubleshooting as well. Improving the efficiency of creating platform bindings. So let me describe that a little bit. So we, of course, on an annual basis, need to ship new Apple and Google SDKs. Google has announced their intention to ship 2 a year. They had been shipping 1 a year. So we are looking, I know, 2 is more than 1. We need to, do what we can. I mean, for years, right? Everybody has heard the mantra, do more with less. And we are not immune to that. And so while the team has been relatively the same size for a while now, there's, seemingly more work to be done than before. And so what can we be doing to make it easier for us to deliver those platform bindings? and then how might that translate into, if you're doing your own platform bindings to enable you, whether it's a library you're bringing online or not. Which is probably a good time to call out the native platform interop. Is that what we call it? Native interop? What, Rachel? What do you call that thing?
Native library interop.
Native library interop.
Yeah.
You need a logo for it,
Switching
apparently.
up all your words. First code vibing and
I know. No, it's code vibing.
I just said that.
No, I thought you said binding.
No,
Anyway,
no.
there's no transcript right now for us to play back and
It's okay. People
and
can let us
blame.
know that I'm right.
This is a good comment. Whoops. Use AI is the answer. Use more AI. You know what?
Period. It is.
It is the answer.
Yeah.
It certainly is something that we are constantly looking at and saying, is this something that AI is today good at doing? Will it be good at it tomorrow?
Yeah. If we have time later, I wanted to show a sample of what Copilot can do today.
I love it. I love it. Message received. That's Rachel saying, wrap it up, Dave.
I wasn't trying to.
So I won't go through the rest of these. There are areas of investment. This is not an exhaustive list. If you don't see your favorite thing on this list and you're like, oh, they're not going to do it. That doesn't mean, that's not what that means. These are just key areas of investment. Maybe I should title it key areas. There are proposed deprecations. And by proposed, I mean, you can pretty much expect that these things are going to happen unless, there's a significant reason for us not to do them. And then you have the .NET 10 planning board for you to go and deep dive on all the things that are currently on the board. A lot more here than is listed on the roadmap. Cool.
Amazing.
Let me maybe call out one more thing. Oh, yes. People were asking me for nullable date time pickers since the day I was born. And seriously. And so Gerald, I don't know, on a whim, just went off and built these things. So I think Gerald's probably a tease-driven developer. We just need to harass him, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you blogging more? Why aren't you doing more YouTube videos? And then suddenly after a few days, boom, he just unloads. So yeah. Nullable date and time pickers. Hi, Maddie. So that's really cool. And we didn't talk. Did you share the Matt Lacey things?
No, I didn't. Tell us.
So I'll just
Tell us more.
So one of the things that we are looking to do in .NET 10 is do some XAML improvements. How can we improve your XAML life? Whether it's simplifying the syntax, global XML and S type situations, removing the need, or at least giving you an option to not include prefixes for all of your namespaces everywhere. So we have some cool things we're doing there. We're working on source gen for XAML. So rather than IL generation, which is what XAML compiler does now, it was something that was created at a time when it was needed, but it's not the case anymore. We have this wonderful source gen stuff that we can do that will improve your debugging life and all that sort of thing. So Matt's got some interesting things in this blog post about how you can use XAML. No, I just lost the word for it. You can write a XAML thing. He calls it boss binding. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, read it. Oh, there it is. Boss binding. Yeah. So a XAML helper thingy. Rather than doing converters, but then again, he also does pass a converter thing into here. But they're simple static methods and things. And so something to look at. I think that any conversations around these things is super useful, and now is a good time for it because, like I said, we are doing work in this space and we're looking for ways in which we can improve it. But to Michael Stonas's worldview, you can just do it all in C# and not use any XAML if you want. And Alan Ritchie shows up with, the most ridiculous comment in the world. Alan,
why, David? Why?
Come on, Alan. Is this what is happening up there in Canada? These guys. All right. I'm done, Rachel.
right.
For everybody else, there's a bunch of links in the URL list, which I'll post again. Check them out. We didn't cover everything.
All
Too
right.
many things.
Too many things. We haven't really even talked about Visual Studio yet. There's a lot of improvements coming there as well in the .NET 10 timeframe. So lots of improvements with debugger performance in general, hot reload, and all the tools. Can't talk about everything because we don't have the time, but let me show you one of our highlights.
Dark
So
mode.
I'm on the latest public preview right now, Visual Studio 2022 1714 Preview 2. So this is where we're at now. Things are just going to get better and better. But one of the things I wanted to highlight that we teased at .NET Conf, but that is more fully fleshed now, is the live preview experience. Now, we've always had live preview, but now we have it at design time, right? Outside of the debugger. So you can see I'm not in debug mode right now, but I've got the XAML file open, and this is just a file new Maui sample app. And I'm going to press live preview, and boom. I see the live preview. I see my beautiful Syncfusion chart and all the things here. And just as we can with all live preview things, I can click to navigate my XAML. So we have all these XAML tools as well, of course, that help make our life easier with XAML. And not only live preview, but hot reload. So if I change something, for example, here, projects, let's say I want to call it, I don't know, my projects. We see that updated in real time as well.
So I can use hot reload outside of the debugger.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
And it doesn't stop there. We also have the live visual tree and live property explorer. So you can use all of these UI tools now outside the debugger. Awesome stuff. But you know what makes it better?
No.
What's the thing that we need to do to make everything better? Use AI. A little sprinkle of GitHub Copilot. So I'm going to pop open a new edits thread here. And this experience is just getting better and better every day too. But this is super awesome. You can switch models. I'm going to pick 3.5, Claude 3.5. And let's say I want to make some changes. Yeah, do a little bit of vibe coding because I don't want to figure out my XAML spaghetti. Let's do some vibe coding. I'm going to say, make the background color pink because we don't care about Dave's favorite color. Add a, oh my gosh, my dev box is freezing up. I can't type.
Of course.
Add a, title above the chart and make the chart bigger. Hopefully that's not too much to ask at once, but let's find out. Let's see what happens.
Lucas, this works on Android and iOS as well.
Yes. And we're working to make the live preview experience better and better. For example, where the team's currently working on improvements so that this preview can navigate based on the XAML file that you have open and making sure that it is a cohesive experience across all the platforms. So I'm going to send a link in the chat to a ticket we have open. If you have any more thoughts after you try it out on how to improve the live preview at design time experience, please share. Let us
Alan,
know.
please keep the conversation on topic. I don't understand why you're talking about these sorts of things.
Okay.
I can kick you.
All right. I talked too much while I was vibe coding because I can do that. But looky here, Copilot edits generated all the edits for me based on what I wanted. It set the background to pink, it added a new label, and it changed the height request of the chart. So you can see in the XAML editor is highlighting the changes that it's about to make, and I just trust. So I'm going to accept all.
Always accept all. That's vibe coding 101.
And boom, did you see that? It just changed in the live preview. It updated. We got the pink. We got a bigger chart. We got this new label. I didn't say what color I wanted it. I can't really see it now. But I can change that color if I wanted to.
I wasn't ready with the confetti.
So slow on the confetti, but this is super awesome stuff. Copilot really is augmenting our productivity here, so we can have intelligent productivity.
I mean, at some point, like you just close the code window, right? And
Yeah.
just use everything else.
Yeah.
And you only go to the code window when,
Seriously.
Copilot gets lost.
Mm-hmm. If I have to close one of these windows, let it be the XAML file. Yeah, no, this is super awesome. And Copilot's just getting better and better every day. There's also Copilot Vision now. So, for example, you can add an attachment here if you want to attach an image and say, ask Copilot to help you implement, a Figma mockup you might have, or just a picture of a design or a scribbled drawing on a napkin, whatever it is. Copilot can handle that too and implement that directly in your code. So super awesome stuff. The future is here.
Figma to Maui XAML is a thing. So if you actually go to .NET Conf last year, 2024, there's a session that shows a service and plugin that makes all that happen. There are other things out there as well, but I think this is probably one of the more polished ones. And if you like Figma as your design surface, the Uno platform has a Figma plugin to go directly to Uno. Then, of course, they also have Hot Design. So there's a lot of cool things happening generally in the space.
Yep.
To improve that productivity. And this in particular is how we're going after it.
Mm-hmm. A question here about when Copilot.
Sorry, go ahead.
How dare you? There's a question here about when Copilot MCP. Today, yesterday.
Yeah, you can use it.
Yeah.
At least on VS Code. I don't know if you can use it in VS.
No, I don't think so. But in VS Code today, you can. You can go back to earlier in the video. We had some examples as well from Javier, for example, of MCP servers and how you can use them with Copilot in VS Code.
Here's a starred question. Any improvements in C# dev kit for Maui? Yes. So Wendy and team are constantly working on improving it. I know that Maddie in particular has a laundry list of things that she's advocating for. And there are things on the Maui side that we are certainly doing there. We're working with some MCP things to improve your general setup. How can you make sure you've got the right things installed? Mm-hmm. You can think, Maui check or Maui doctor or whatever, but using Copilot. And then of course, just general debugging improvements. We have some work around helping you generate speed scope files and get your logging when you're doing performance profiling and things like that.
You're revealing all our secrets.
Secrets. You can probably find most of them on somebody's GitHub right now. So.
I kid. There's a lot of exciting things coming.
Very cool. And then finally, last but not least, Gerald and company have a community toolkit stand-up happening in an hour on the Foundation channel. So, and I'm pretty sure they follow us like this. They follow us around, generally, but they in timing, they follow our live stream. So first Thursday of the month, everywhere, always, unless an event happens, we'll be here. So tell your friends. And I think that wraps us for today.
Whoa.
And next month, we're going to have Alberto Albirock on, and we're going to be talking about contributing to Maui and kind of, doing a little interview interrogation. And I think Shane's going to join us as well. So we're a full month ahead on what the topic is for next month. It's
I
going to be
know.
awesome. So
So good. We're so good.
as you see cool stuff, as you're doing cool stuff, share it with us. We always want to see what's going on, and we'll certainly amplify it for you as well. There's things happening seemingly every day right now in our ecosystem. So very exciting times. Until then, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.